Hey everyone, this is Allison. I'm going to do a quick tutorial on how to use the built-in sliders in Storyline 2 in order to change variables without using any triggers. So this is something that is very cool and easy to do. I also had one on using sliders to change states of an object, so if you don't know how to do that and you'd like to check that out, I just completed that screener as well. So you can see here we have two sliders, and this slider controls variable number 1. You can see it moving there in steps of 1. And this slider controls variable number 2, which you can see moving there in steps of 1/2. And the sum here is responsive, right? We'll also have a little bonus on how to create that sum. Alright, so let's go ahead and build out this slide together. First thing you need to do is insert your sliders, and they're here under the controls panel under sliders. There's several different types. We'll just go with this one for now, and we'll create a second one there. And when you are in your slider, you are able to change the look a lot, but we'll really look at the design here and at these two pieces of the slider properties. These are the parts that really allow you to dictate how the slider functions. So you can give it a start number. So let's say we want to constrain our first variable to be between 5 and 15, and we want it to step every in intervals of 1. So we want our increments to be. We can change the name of this variable so that it is variable number 1. Okay, and then we can change the name of this one so it is variable number 2. And if we want to allow this one to start at 0, we'll say, and end at 12, and then we can step it in increments of 1/2, 0.5. Alright, so there we go, variable number 2, variable number 1, and stepping in different increments and with different start and end points. Alright, now to get those to show up on the screen, all we have to do is insert a reference. So first we need a text box that can hold that reference, and then we can reference those variables. So variable number 1 here, and then here we'll do variable number 2. Alright, so we can preview this real quick and see how the sliders affect those variables on screen, exactly like you would hope it would. Alright, great. Now if we want to do the sum, the first thing we have to do is add a variable that we will use as our sum. So we'll call this summation. It will be a number variable, and we'll start it at 0. And then we can insert a text box here that will hold our reference to summation. Let's make it nice and big so we can see it easily. Alright, there we go. So in order to make summation reactive to the changes in variable 1 and variable 2, we need a few triggers. And what we want to do is we want to allow summation to calculate every single time either one of these sliders is moved. So anytime you move slider 1, you want to set it equal to variable 1 and then add variable 2. And every time you move slider 2, you'll set it equal to variable 1 and add variable 2. So that's what we're going to do real quick. So we're going to adjust variable summation. We're going to set it equal to variable number 1 whenever our slider moves. And I don't know if you can see that if it's out of the screen. So we're going to say whenever slider moves here. Which slider? Slider 1. And it doesn't matter what condition here. We don't care what the value of slider 1 is. Every single time it moves, we want it to adjust that variable. Okay. So then we want to adjust summation again by adding variable number 2 again when slider 1 moves every single time. So now every time slider 1 moves, it's set equal to variable 1 and variable 2 is added to it to give us the sum. Now we want to do the same thing very quickly with slider number 2. So summation, set it equal to variable 1 when slider number 2 is moved, and summation, add variable number 2 when slider number 2 is moved. And that gives us our final product.